Welcome to Ingrid's World. I'm your host, Ingrid Paris-Hicklin. Meet the founder and owner of KELeahman Consulting, who is using his expertise to help people be better travelers. Learn from an expert how to navigate traveling in a foreign country. You will be amazed on what he can share with you. And then we'll switch gears and then meet the author of Somerset Grove, a novel that I read and loved. She will talk about her work as a literary ambassador for Read Across Jamaica Foundation. And then we will wrap up the show talking with the Prince William County Alumnae, chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Yes, they have been very successful in conducting the youth oratorical competition, celebrating the life and work of Dr. Martin Luther King. They will inspire you with their hard work and what they're doing in the community. And then we will have also a discussion about youth, discussing video games as well as books. And then have a commentary on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. So welcome to another episode of Ingrid's World. Now, welcome to the show, KELeahman. Very glad to have you here.
Thank you, Ingrid. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're going to start off with you telling us a little bit about yourselves, and then we're going to jump into these wonderful things that you brought.
All right. So I served in the U.S. government for 25 years, and I was the son of a military officer and began traveling at the age of 10 months old, and first moved to Panama, and have traveled my entire life.
Wow.
So I now have traveled to 65 or 66 countries outside the United States. And I just finished a vacation where I actually have now added my 49th of our 50 states.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful.
So travel is very, very important to me. I've traveled my whole life.
So let's talk about your company that you have, KELeahman Consulting. Tell us a little bit about that company.
So when I retired from the government and had met some people officially, professionally, they understood that I had traveled a lot, and they had a friend whose daughter was graduating from high school and beginning to travel. And they came to me and they asked whether I would speak to them about some of their concerns and help coach their daughter on traveling securely. So I said, absolutely, friend of a friend, and I'd be happy to do that. And that began to develop by referrals into my travel consulting company. So in addition to that, I do families, I do personal individuals, and I do corporations.
So you brought some things here that we can share with our viewers. So what are some of the things that when you travel, and you travel a lot, what are some of the things that you use?
Well, one of the things that is critical to safe travel, I really focus on secure travel, and by having an awareness of reducing your stress and reducing your risk, you enjoy travel a lot more.
Exactly.
So one of the things that I've put together here are some little, I call them my tools and my toys. And just knowing ahead of time that you have things that will help enhance your security. I believe that a very high power flashlight is very, very critical.
Wow.
So I have this. Some people use the Surefire flashlight. It requires special batteries. It's used by police and military. This is called the Phoenix, F-E-N-I-X. It takes standard batteries. It's powerful enough to light up a full city block.
Oh.
So that's critical because in many parts of the world, the power can go out. One thing I did not bring, because I recently broke mine and I have to replace it, I have a headlamp.
Wow.
Like people use in camping, because it's nice to have a headlamp and you have both hands free. This is it is an adapter. It's not a converter, but it has every type of plug that is required in any part of the world in one small device.
Wow.
This is a door jamb. You put this under your hotel room door or your apartment door while you're abroad. you extend it, and by having it on the floor, no one can open the door.
Wow, nice.
If you forget that, this is a very small device. It's a door alarm, and it has a small pin type thing.
All right.
And you put that in the door jamb, and it's guarded right now, so the alarm won't go off.
Yes.
But if someone opens the door, it sets off a very high decibel alarm. One of the things that I also think is critical is to know whether the water is safe where you're traveling.
Yeah. And
not to really worry about, can I drink the water?
Yes.
If you're constantly worried, can I drink the water, then that adds stress and it reduces your enjoyment.
Sure does.
This is an ultraviolet light device. Ultraviolet light destroys 99.8% of the bacteria, including Giardia and various things that you can contract. And you turn it on.
Okay.
You place it in a water bottle. I carry a Nalgene water bottle.
Okay.
And you turn it on and you swirl it for approximately 1 minute, and it destroys all the harmful bacteria.
Oh my word.
And this is something which you and I have spoken about before. It's available everywhere. It's a small scale. Everyone's wondering, am I going to be above that weight when I get to the check-in counter?
Yeah, you're going to wait there, and then I'm going to pay like $100 more.
$100 more, or I'm going to shift my luggage in front of it. Shift my luggage contents in front of everyone.
The shift of shame. Okay.
Yeah, the shift of shame. Yes.
Yeah.
This literally attaches to the handle of your suitcase. You turn it on. You lift the suitcase, and it tells you exactly what the suitcase weighs.
Wonderful. Okay.
And you can shift it to kilograms if you're abroad, and they're asking you to do it by kilos. This is a very helpful little device. It will attach to your large suitcase and enable you to attach a smaller suitcase to it. The reason that's valuable is because while traveling, you are more vulnerable if both hands are occupied.
Okay.
So attach one to another.
Oh my goodness, of course. Yeah, exactly. You need to always have that hand free. It's interesting because when I travel, I always make sure I have like a cross bag, over, and then I have that. And this hand is always the doer hand. Okay, wow, okay. So I didn't know it, but I'm traveling safe-wise. We have a few minutes left, and when you were first doing your first presentation, you talked about a website that we should go to. Do you want to tell our viewers one of the websites that you recommend about when you're traveling overseas?
Well, my website, if you want to reach me directly, is KELeahman.com.
Okay, excellent.
I have another company as well that is called Augustus Global. And AugustusGlobal.com will lead you to our corporate site, because we do this, we help to establish travel programs for corporations.
I follow you.
Many companies have a lot of individuals who travel, and they're not aware of the requirement. Actually, there are laws relative to providing safety for employees as they travel. So we help provide those. Now, some of the sites that I use to find my toys, REI, which is the sports outfitter.
Right.
They have a lot of these things. There are a huge number of sites. Travelsafe.com. Just do a Google search.
Right. Well, I think you're very clear about that. Well, I had to thank you for being on this show. It was excellent, and your tools are phenomenal. Thanks again, Kenny.
Thank you, Ingrid.
Great. Coming up next, we'll be talking to Dionne Peart about her book, Somerset Grove. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Well, welcome to the show, Dionne Peart, and it was great to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, I read your book, and I kind of loved every bit of it. So let's talk first a little bit about your career.
Okay. Well, I'm an attorney. I've been practicing for about 13 years. I started off doing litigation, and currently I serve as in-house counsel for an agency.
Wow. So what made you become an author?
You know, I always used to love writing. When I was in school, creative writing was my favorite class. They eventually stopped offering it, and so I kind of put it to the side. And then I took a test in the 9th grade that said, you know, your career path should involve language, so either law or English professor. And I just decided to pursue the law path. But a few years into my practice, I was enjoying it, but I felt there was something missing. And so that's when I started to think about reading for pleasure again, and then just challenged myself to write a novel, and that's how I came up with Somerset Grove.
Well, tell the viewers about this storyline.
So the story is about 3 generations of Jamaican women, and it takes them on a journey between Jamaica and Canada as they deal with mostly conflict between each other, but also pride and cultural clash. And so as you go through the story, you deal with their challenges, and you kind of live their life and see how they try to come together.
So I love the character. I mean, I can't say which one I prefer because my heart ached with each one of them because, you know, Ruby and then Angelique and then the last one, Carmen. And like, she just really brought the whole story full circle.
Yes.
I mean, how did you discover those types of characters? I mean, my goodness.
Well, Angelique is, so when you first meet her in the book, she is a 16-year-old savvy girl from the country that thinks she's very cosmopolitan. And so she reminds me of a lot of people that I grew up with. And so she's kind of a compilation of those characters. And you know, the first line of the novel is, "The thought crossed her mind to run." And so that came to me initially, and then the character for Angelique came, and then it kind of just went from there.
Well, you know, and what I also liked about the book is that you told a story also about Jamaican customs.
Yes.
And one of the customs that interests me a lot was the 9-night. What is that about? What's the 9-night? 9-night
is essentially a 9-day wake. It's practiced throughout the Caribbean, but it has roots in Africa. And so it's a 9-day celebration of the deceased life. You go to the deceased home, you visit, you eat. The culture is kind of, it's kind of evolved over the years. So it used to be a very formal type of thing, but it's grown into something that's, for some people, it's more of almost like a party. And on the 9th night is the night that you say goodbye. And so they, you know, they'll put the mattress up against the wall so the person knows that they don't. Yes.
I read that in the book. Well, the way you write, you see pictures.
I do.
So, because I was able to imagine that I actually saw the mattress out there. It was
great.
So powerful.
Thank you.
Do you have another book planned?
I do. So my second novel is called Butterfly, and it's about a woman who's in the middle of professional and personal transition. And as her career takes off, she switches from private practice to prosecution work. Her personal life kind of falls apart, and particularly with her best friend. She learns a secret that could derail her career and their friendship.
All right, so I'm gonna have to run and get that book. I love that. Tell us about you being the literacy ambassador for Read Across Jamaica.
Oh, I love that. Read Across Jamaica is a foundation that supports literacy efforts in Jamaica. So they do big book distributions and then engage students in learning activities. So once a year, they go across the island and distribute books to different schools and different parishes. And it's really something that's important to me because I've always had a love of reading. And so to promote that in young people is really something special.
Wow. So where can we get more information on you?
From my website at www.DionnePeart, that's DionnePeart.com. I'm also on Twitter at Dee-Peart and Facebook at facebook.com/Dee-Peart.
Well, I mean, it was pretty exciting having you on here because you painted this lush picture. I felt as if I was in Winnipeg and I was cold. And I was like, and I kept on saying, how do you move from, a beautiful island of Jamaica and the great weather, and then suddenly you're in Winnipeg? And
yeah.
That was pretty good. And
Thank you.
I just wish you continued success.
Thank you so much.
And telling stories of Jamaican women, which I particularly love.
Thank you so much. It was great meeting you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Coming up next, we'll be talking with Dee-Dee Davis and Sandra Mitchell from Prince William County Alumnae, chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. So stay right there. Well, welcome to the show, Dee-Dee Davis.
Thank you.
And Sandra
Nice to meet
Mitchell. Wonderful to have you both. So I always start out saying, tell us a little bit about yourself. We'll start out with you, Sandra.
I'm Sandra Mitchell, and I'm with the Prince William County Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, and I'm the co-chair of the Martin Luther King Oratorical Program.
Wonderful to have you here. And Dee-Dee Davis.
And I am Dee-Dee Davis. I'm also a member of the Prince William County Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, and I am co-chair of our Public Relations Committee.
Wonderful. So when did the chapter get started?
Our chapter began on December the 1st, 1984, with 15 charter members and 6 chapter members. And as of today, we have about 300 members presently, right? And so now we're continuing to move onward and upward through sisterhood and lifting each other as we climb through sisterhood, scholarship, and service.
Congratulations.
Thank
First,
you.
I want to say 300 members, outstanding. So I get really excited about the services that you deliver in the Prince William County and actually serving Northern Virginia. Let's talk a little bit about the oratorical contest, because I just get excited about young people speaking.
Oh, okay. The oratorical competition is a part of the Martin Luther King Day celebration. And the schools in Prince William County Public Schools, Manassas City, Manassas Park, their schools hold competitions at the school level. Wow. And then there is a school winner. And then in early January, we hold a regional competition. And from those students, those orators, we choose 6 students, 3 high school and 3 middle school students. And those students then perform before the audience on Martin Luther King at the Martin Luther King program.
You know, it's really pretty exciting, you know, when you see these young people come forward. And the fact that it seems to be, it's not just the oratorical contest, but it's like a community celebration that's occurring. How many people generally go to an event like that?
We range from as small as 1,000 and some years about 2,000.
Wow.
It's at the Hilton Memorial Chapel.
Oh my goodness.
Hilton holds quite a few people.
Okay, so this year, when will it be? When will the contest?
It's on Martin Luther King Day, January 19th at 11 a.m.
Okay. All right.
At the Hilton Memorial Chapel in Woodbridge.
Right. I think isn't that the 18th? January 18th?
I think it is the 18th.
I'm sorry.
It's the 18th.
19th last year.
Because we want you out there to make sure that you attend this event.
I know.
Yes.
Thank you. 18th.
So it's January 18th, and it's no date, January 23rd, right? Both at 11 o'clock.
Yes.
All right. And I have to find out, what's the cost of this event?
It's free.
It's free.
It is free.
Ah, love it. So you see this, so that's a win-win.
It is. It is.
It's in a wonderful location, and it's a free event. What are some of the other services that you perform? Because I was on your website, and I was just amazed about some of the services that are performed.
Well, our programs are centered around our 5 program thrust, and so we deal with the educational development, and this is what the MLK oratorical contest falls under. We have economic development, so we have workshops for building businesses and forums for that kind of information. International awareness and involvement. Last year, some members of our chapter traveled to South Africa to provide supplies, and they donated baby dolls to some of the girls in South Africa. Nice. We have our physical and mental health development, so each year we sponsor a senior citizens luncheon. We also volunteer at the Envoy Nursing Home to help with things that they need.
Wow.
And Did I miss anything?
I think you have, it's a lot.
It is a lot.
It's a lot.
We're quite a busy chapter.
Yes, yes.
It sounds like
and give
that.
out about $20,000 in scholarships.
We did.
Okay, and let's
We did.
emphasize that because particularly in these times, many students would not be going to college if it was not for sororities such as yours and community-based organizations giving young people these scholarships. So that's wonderful. $20,000
Last year, right?
Yeah.
last year.
Yes.
Congratulations. So in terms of the scopes of services that you deliver, are these only for Prince William County or is it for Northern Virginia? Just make sure that we're members of
Many
the
of the
program.
youth programs center around the greater Prince William County
greater
area
Prince
from
William.
Manassas and Manassas Park. But for our larger programs like the Martin Luther King program, anyone is welcome to attend that.
Nice. And with over 1,000 people there and going up to 2,000, I bet you have everybody from all over making sure that they're there.
We can use more.
Oh my goodness. So what has been the greatest success that you feel as if you would like to for our viewers to remember out there about the contest?
I think for the competition, I think it's so important to know what we believe this does for students. We think of three things. The first is that it helps the schools, we are helping the schools to foster and encourage the things that they want to encourage, and that is good communication. The students have to write a speech, they have to organize it and develop a thought. The other is that oratory or public speaking is something that is not emphasized as much in schools.
True.
So we want to emphasize that because we believe that public speaking is an important thing, much like what we're doing here.
What we're doing here
today. And I think the last is that we hear the students tell us that this has made such a difference in their lives. So it really builds their efficacy. It builds their confidence. It's what any human being knows. You get through something tough, and if you're successful, it builds your confidence. And so they are able to do that. And many students have said this has been a life-changing opportunity for them.
So as we wrap up this segment, as the public relations person, how can they learn more information about?
All right, well, you can visit our website at www.pwcacdst.org, or you can visit us on Twitter and Facebook at PWCACDST.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dee-Dee Davis.
Look forward to perhaps seeing you on January 18th.
And see you on January 18th. That's great. Thank you so much, Sandra Mitchell and Dee-Dee Davis.
Thank you.
Coming up next, we'll be talking to Alyssa and Isis and listen to Anya regarding why is it important. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Ingrid's World. I'm your host, Ingrid Paris-Hicklin. Now let's have a moment with Alyssa and Isis. Well, this time we're talking about video games, books versus video games. So what's your favorite?
My favorite is video games because they're just a little bit more interesting than books.
Ah.
Honestly, mine is video games also.
Really?
Because you can get paper cuts from books.
Oh, paper cuts from books. Okay. Now, I actually am a book person. Like, Melissa, I kind of think you know that. So, what's your do you have a favorite book?
Yeah, my favorite book series is Diary of a Wimpy Kid because it's really funny.
Really? And Isis, what about you?
My favorite series is the Dork Diary series.
Ah, so you do read too, in addition to playing video games.
Yes.
All right. So, what's your favorite video games?
My favorite video game is Super Mario. What's yours, Isis?
My favorite video game is Minecraft.
Okay. So we're going to end this segment. Do video games get a thumbs up? 2 thumbs up? And what about books? Okay, middle.
Middle.
Okay, middle. Oh, okay, very cool. All right. Well, thank you, Alyssa and Isis, for giving us a moment. So coming up next, we'll be speaking with Anya Wheeler, who will tell us why it is important. So Anya, why is it important?
Well, Free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last. Those powerful words were spoken by the incomparable Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Today I'm going to be discussing why the celebration of Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday is important. In America, we have prevailed over so many issues like racism and sexism. Martin Luther King's activism is the reason why we have come so far. Together we celebrate a civil rights icon that fought to make all people equal.
Wow. That's powerful. Well, thank you, Anya, for being on the show, but particularly thank you for your commentary, because it's very important to see the world through your eyes. Thank you, everyone, for watching Ingrid's World. We had an action-packed show, something for everyone. So here is my quote, which is from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Thank you, Dr. King. Thank you for watching Ingrid's World, and don't forget to find us on Facebook for instant Ingrid World news or see ingridsworld.org. Thanks for watching.